Hello and welcome to HighDesign. In this video, we'll learn how to use the wall tool, which you use to create basic and compound wall elements. The wall tool is available on the toolbox, where you can find all the other drafting, documentation and design tools. Let's see now how you can create and modify walls. You can start by using your own defined wall type, or you can select one of the predefined wall types that are available in the libraries. To do that, you don't need to open the settings. You can simply right-click on the tool icon and then have access to the libraries. In this case, we are going to use this wall type. Then you go to the start point and click. As you can see, the wall is being traced by its midline. We don't want that. We want to align the wall inside the floor that we have designed, so we can use this menu to change the alignment of the leading line. When you are constructing compound walls, you also have the option to align the leading line of the wall to its structural component. In this case, we are going to choose the exterior side of the wall. You can also open the same menu by hovering on this control, and you can choose the leading side. Now the wall is aligned to its exterior side. You click and click. As you can see, the wall tool creates a sequence of walls. To end the sequence, you press ESC, right click or double click. In this case, we pressed ESC. Let's now select a wall to see its properties and see the available options for editing. In HighDesign, you can select an object by using the arrow tool, or a shift click or right click the element. When you select a wall, you can see its handles on the definition points, start point, midpoint and end point. And you also see a light dashed line above the wall that indicates the exterior side of the wall. Now let's take a look at the object info panel. I will drag it out so we can see all the options at a glance. When a wall is selected, you can see and modify the coordinates of the handle points, the geometry, length, width of the wall, its height, and also read the information about the area, base area, and the surface and volume. You can change the leading side, you can flip sides if you want, and you can attach information. You can change its tag and give it a name and even enter a description or show the settings panel. Now let's continue constructing the walls of this room. We'll just drag the object info back to the sidebar, deselect, and we can continue the construction. You can continue this series of walls at any time, and as you can see, the walls are automatically connected. When the endpoint reaches another wall, the series automatically interrupts. Now we can define another wall. We select another wall type. Let's say this wall type, and we can attach it here. Let's say that we want to align the wall to this side, so we must edit. You select it, place the pointer over the endpoint that you want to stretch and click. We can simply align the wall like this, holding the shift key to keep the horizontal alignment, or another alignment if we wanted. In this case, we are going to align the wall like this. Since walls are parametric elements, their type is defined by parameters and properties that you can view and edit through the Wall Settings window. Double-click the tool icon to show the settings panel. Let's take a look at the Wall Settings window. The topmost part of the window is title or header. Contains the controls to select or create a new style or type. You can click this pop-up menu and access the libraries. The resources in a HighDesign are organized in libraries. The HighDesign library, which contains predefined types and styles that come with the software. The user library that you define with your own types. And the project library that lists the element types that are actively used at this particular moment in the project. The settings window is organized in sections and gives you access to all the special properties of the wall type. The first section is about the wall family. In HighDesign there are two wall families: basic walls, which are standard case walls made of one uniform component in all the thickness of the wall, and compound walls, which are made of several layers, and you can define the number of the layers in their material and function and thickness. Let's take a look at one type. Let's make a simple concrete wall. And you can see that it's uniform in its material and internal components. We can change the wall type simply by selecting another wall type, or we can use another wall, in this case a compound wall, and we can see that the wall is made of different internal components. As we have seen, the second section changes according to the family we have chosen. For basic walls, the second section is about geometry. More specifically, it's about the geometry of the base of the wall. You have two options to make a regular wall, one that has a constant thickness all along its length, or an irregular wall, and you can define a different thickness for the end side of the wall. In this case, we enter 20 centimeters and we define a wall that has this other configuration. Another parameter that is available in the wall settings window is the height of the wall. The height parameter controls the height of the wall from its base level to the upper level. We can enter any value we want in the current measurement unit, and the height parameter will be used for the calculations of volume, the surface, and will be read by the schedules. The Allow Joints option controls the way a wall connects to the other walls. In HighDesign, the connections are automatic, but we can choose to disable the connections on the start head or end head. For example, let's take a look at this wall, and when we disable the start head connection, the two walls are now disconnected, and the same happens when we disable the end connection. So this wall is now disconnected from the other walls, and there is this line of separation between the two walls. The Graphic Properties section of the Settings panel allows you to define and modify the appearance of the walls on the floor plan view. We can change the line type or pen width of the borders to whatever value is currently available in the project. Let's say we want to make this wall demolition wall, so we change the line type of the borders to a dashed line. And we want to mark this wall as different from the others. We want to change the pen width to something more strong, that stands out more. We can change the fill color, add a hatch, change the hatch color, enter a different scale factor, and we can also define the angle of the internal hatch so as to make it absolute, which is the same for all the hatches in the project, or relative to this particular wall. When we modify the settings in the settings panel, an alert tells us that these settings don't match the selected type. That is to remind us that the selected type has other parameters. If we want to revert the wall to the current type, which is frame exterior 25 centimeters, we can simply click this alert and revert it back to the original type. Let's see now how you can define and modify the internal components of a compound wall. Let's choose a compound wall type. The interface changes to show us the internal components edit button, the total thickness of the wall, which is a non-editable value, and the menu to change the internal pen width of the internal layers of the wall. Let's push this button to show the wall components window. The wall components window allows you to view, define and modify the internal components of a compound wall type. In the preview, you can see the exterior side in blue and the interior side in red. You can see the different layers. You can change the visualization scale so you can have an idea of how the wall will look at different drawing scales. And you can, of course, zoom in and out. In this table, you will define and edit the internal components of the window. And there is the number, the ordering number, name of the component. Let's say that we want to change this from component 2 to insulation. And we can see the internal treatment and rendering of each layer. The total thickness is calculated from the sum of the thicknesses of all the internal components. So you don't need to change to edit. You cannot change directly the thickness of the compound wall, but you change the thickness of each layer, internal layer. You can add a new component to the wall type by clicking the plus button. A component is defined by its name, its function inside the wall, thickness, and you can assign it a fill color, a hatch type, and hatch color, of course, and hatch scale. So let's say we want to create a substrate that will be placed between the exterior finish and the core structural component. We will call it sub 01, make it 2 centimeters, and done. The component has been placed as last on the list, and we can select it and move it in the position we want. You can see that the total thickness of the wall has been increased by those 2 centimeters. So let's create this new wall, which has now the substrate layer that we just created. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or requests for other videos, don't hesitate to let us know using the comment section. Be sure to share your work on our channels by tagging ILEXSOFT if you want to be featured. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check out the other tutorials and how-to videos.